What up, it's your girl Catalina Perez, and you are tuned into the OTS Project.
Allergies, man. Allergies.
Allergies are a pain in the ass, but what's not a pain in the ass is the OTS Project episode 20. We are here. What's up, Theo? What's going on?
What's going on? I like the idea of doing more like casual intros like that, where we like just like are having like in like the middle of a conversation, and then we just segue into, oh hey, welcome back to the OTS Project.
I'm with it.
Nothing much. Battlefront has been having a crazy resurgence, and I have been all over it. I posted about it on Twitter. I have been playing even more of it today. It's just been a grand old time.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I have been crazy into gaming. I mean, I game in general pretty much every day, but for some reason the past like month I have just been going absolutely insane with gaming. Obviously, I said on the pod I replayed GTA 5. I finished The Last of Us Part 2. But man, oh man, I found a game that I texted you about and asked you, hey Theo, have you played Detroit Become Human? And you were like, no. Which, now that I've played the game, it thoroughly shocks me that you have not played this game, because it's a very popular game.
I remember seeing it everywhere when it first came out, and I have it like in my library, because it was like one of those free games that came with like the PlayStation Plus like library and whatnot, but I've never downloaded it.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that it's in that library, because I'm going to need you to download it at some point, because, bro, holy shit. So, I would see this game pop up, and especially on TikTok, I would see a lot of people talk about, like, crazy moments in gaming, emotional moments in gaming, great story games, and Detroit Become Human was always in there. And I always ignored it until I was just looking for a game the other day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to play this game. This is one of the greatest games I've ever played. I'm not even playing. Like, this game is so fucking good. It is like, I don't know if you've seen any gameplay on it, but it's like similar to a Telltale game with the decision making, but it is on another level, because it's like they have a tagline in this game: every second counts. Every fucking second fucking counts, dude. Like, there's a lot of quick time events in this and stuff like that, but decision making, there's a lot of like, you literally have like 10 seconds to answer, which I know they do in the Telltale games, but it's not all the time. Dude, this is like 75 to 85% of the things you have to say within like 10 to 15 seconds, and it will completely change the whole way you're playing this game. There's 3 main characters that are all on different paths, but their paths all converge, and my god, there are options. Like, so at the end of each level, you see like a flow chart, and it shows you like everything you chose, but then there's also the locked options of what you didn't choose. Some of these things were like 80 like sequences deep, dude. It is so crazy. There were characters that I found out are in this game that I never even met in the game when I played it. Like, you need to play this game, because the story in general is great, but just the fact that there's so many possibilities for where all 3 of these characters could end up is fucking incredible, bro. So I highly recommend you check that game out, because that game was absolutely incredible. Yeah, so that was the main game that I've played this week. But clearly, like you said, Battlefront has been popping off, so we've been playing that a little bit. But I've also been playing, yesterday, I played a little bit of GTA Online. I don't know if you did, I don't think you did, but there was like an update that we could low-key kind of missed, but it was because it was just very mid, and we just didn't care, and it wasn't like a big update. So me and Grace hopped on last night to play a little bit, and we decided to play this update with the Mackenzie Field hangar or whatever. Bro, that shit is fucking insane too. There's like 6 missions, and 2 of those missions were just absolutely bonkers. I was like, how? And the last mission, I was like, how do people even do this, bro? It is so, you have to like shoot down a Titan, but the Titan, like, the health does not fucking go down, and you have lock-on missiles that are shooting at you, as well as attack helicopters and like shark jets, dude. I'm like, I don't know how anybody pulls this off. So yeah, I played a little bit of that, and I actually recently started playing Marvel Rivals as well.
Okay.
I had not checked it out. I saw gameplay, and obviously when it first dropped, everybody's been playing it and still have been playing it. The player base has been pretty consistent. When I saw the gameplay, I'm like, it just doesn't seem like it's for me. Like, I played a little bit of Overwatch back in the day, and Overwatch, like, it wasn't necessarily for me. And that's the same vibes I get from Marvel Rivals. But I was like, you know what? Like a day ago or whatever, I was like, let me just try this out. Screw it. I'm fucking with it. I'm fucking with it so far. I'm having some fun with it. Yeah. It's definitely not easy. And the characters, you have to really figure out the characters. So he's probably my main right now is probably most people's main when they start. I'm using Punisher just because he has like the assault rifle. You can kind of keep your distance.
Yeah, he's a solid starter for sure. We gotta play sometime.
Yes, for sure. Grace also just downloaded. I think we're gonna play it a little bit later today. Okay. So, yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. Just playing a lot of games, but mainly Detroit Become Human. Anybody that's watching, throw a comment down below that if you've played Detroit Become Human, because I'm just blown away by how incredible that game is. And I found out, I forgot, Quantic Dreams I think is the developers of that game. They have 2 other games that I think I'm going to check out too at some point. They're very similar. One's definitely more of like a darker kind of thriller, and then the other one seems to be more of a kind of like sci-fi kind of vibe. But I guess Detroit Become Human is also kind of sci-fi. But yeah, incredible job. I highly recommend you check it out because I think you'll also love that game as well. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing this week. Yeah. There's not a lot of news, so I have a couple things jotted down here for us to just kind of discuss. So to get it out of the way real quick, there's about 2 pieces of news this past week that I have noticed. The first one is definitely official. Avengers Doomsday, as well as Secret Wars, but more prominently currently would be Doomsday. Both have been delayed to December of 2026 and 2027. I've already seen people freaking out about this. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's a couple months from where it already was. So yeah, I don't think it's that deep. And again, similar to, like I said, with a lot of video games, if they got to delay it to give us the best possible version of these movies, then do it. But I will say what does intrigue me, though, and what interests me, and I am a little nervous, is that, so originally, Avengers Doomsday was going to come out, and then in between Doomsday and Secret Wars was going to be Spider-Man Brand New Day, and then Secret Wars. Now that's not the case. Now Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out before Avengers Doomsday. So I'm a little nervous about that because, sometimes when that happens, they tend to change, storylines around and stuff like that. So I'm a little nervous that whatever was going to happen that obviously was going to explain where Spider-Man is may not happen now because of the fact that it happens before or whatever. I think they did that with another Spider-Man. I think No Way Home.
I think
there was some movie, I think Doctor Strange or something like that got delayed, and it kind of switched everything up to where originally America Chavez was supposed to be in Spider-Man, and not she was supposed to be in Spider-Man instead of Doctor Strange, but I guess whatever it was that got delayed had to change it because it wouldn't have made, like, I think Spider-Man was supposed to come out before Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, so it would have introduced America Chavez and then she would have been in Multiverse of Madness, but since it got switched around or whatever, it wouldn't have made sense, so they had to take her out and put Doctor Strange in, which obviously Doctor Strange is one of my favorites, so I'm not mad about that, but it would have been interesting to see a Spider-Man No Way Home with America Chavez kind of in that role. So yeah, that's the real big kind of piece of news that obviously they have both been delayed. I don't remember the exact date for Secret Wars, but for Doomsday, it's December 18th, 2026. I'm also a little excited, actually, now that it has been kind of delayed, because I think it's going to just make the Christmas feeling even better, where we're going to be kind of
going all my favorite superheroes dying. What a great Christmas feeling.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the hype around it, I feel like, is just going to be, like, I've said it to you before. When they were releasing Star Wars movies around Christmas time every year, it just made that time of year even more special. Where you would, like, Christmas was already fun, so you already had the Christmas feeling, but then also everywhere you went, you saw Kylo Ren or Rey's face or BB-8's face. It just made it better. Right. So that's what I'm talking about. I think Christmas time is also already going to be great, but then also going into a store and seeing all the Avengers everywhere is also just gonna make it. It's gonna make just for a really extra fun time for 2026 and 2027. The only other piece of news that isn't confirmed yet, but I just wanted to put it here, and maybe we'll get some confirmation by next week. It would seem that WrestleMania 42 originally was reported to be taking place in New Orleans next year. Apparently, that is not the case. And not only is that not the case, allegedly, WrestleMania 42 will be taking place right back in Las Vegas like it did this year. Nice audible reaction by Theo there. Visual reaction by Theo.
That's fucking ridiculous. Why?
That is what everybody's been saying. I also agree. Again, this is not confirmed yet. This is just kind of speculation, but most of the time in the wrestling world, when you see something like this pop up everywhere, it's been all over the past day. It's been all over my news feeds and been reported. Chances are it's probably true. So yeah, I'm just gonna assume that WrestleMania 41 brought in the city of Las Vegas with so fucking much money that they were like, we need to bring this back. But I hope this is not the case. I hope that it is somewhere else. That's the fun of part of the fun of WrestleMania is that every year you're speculating where it's going to be, and it's always going to be somewhere else. They never really do a back-to-back. Technically, you can say Tampa because 2020 they had to do it. Well, no, they didn't even do it. We'll just say Florida because it was at the PC, and then the next year was in Tampa. So that's technically what you could say that the 2020 and 2021, but they didn't have any choice there. Other than that, it really does not kind of go back to back like this. So, yeah, very disappointing, especially because this past WrestleMania was a dud. So kind of going back to the scene of the crime doesn't make it too hopeful or too exciting for me at least.
The only reason I would want them to go back to Las Vegas is if they have this thing in the dome. That's like the only excuse,
right?
That I would allow.
So yeah, that again not officially confirmed yet, but it looks like it's about to be confirmed that for some reason WrestleMania 42 will be taking place in Las Vegas.
Alaskan WrestleMania. Where's that?
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. All right, so that's kind of all the news we have is that Avengers Doomsday delayed news and this speculated news about WrestleMania being in Las Vegas again. So I wanted to kind of fill this out a little bit. So I added a couple small things that we could talk about here. First off, this one I've been meaning to ask you or discuss with you. The Last of Us, the game, now, another game, now, season 1 of a show, now season 2 of a show, about to be season 3, and probably season 4 of a show. I've been talking about this a lot on the podcast recently, but I have not asked you what your experience with The Last of Us is because it's not something we've really ever talked about. And so I know you didn't play the second game. I know that because we would have talked about it, but I'm not sure if you've ever played the first game.
I did play the first game. I think I played it like once back on the PS3, and I liked it, but I never really like got into it. It was like a good game, but I was just not really like my sort of jam. But that's like the only thing I've ever experienced with anything Last of Us. Okay.
Well, I would definitely suggest replaying the first one at some point because you might, now that you're a little older, you might have a different kind of view on it, you know. But yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to ask you. I never knew what because it's been something that's so popular. I just never knew if you had even attempted to touch any of that universe.
I'm just outside the circle.
Yeah, for real. I'm trying to get you into the circle. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's kind of funny because I remember when they announced this game and the pre-orders went up. I did pre-order it, the first game, back in like 2013 or whatever it was, 2014, whatever the hell it was. I did pre-order it. I went to GameStop, picked up the game. This is so crazy. Picked up the game, came home, played it for about 20 minutes, and then never touched it again. Like, I never, for whatever reason, I think because as a kid, I didn't really play like story games like this because they tend to be slow and a lot of talking and stuff like that. And as a kid, I was used to playing like Call of Duty where, you know, I could just hop in and start killing people, or GTA where you could just drive around and kill people. So as a kid, I didn't play a ton of like heavy story games. So I think that's why. But to me, it's just wild that I dragged my parents to buy me this game and drag them all the way to GameStop, and then I played it for like 20 minutes and never touched it again. And then it's probably like 2019 or something like that. I just like downloaded it onto the PS4 and I was like, let me try this again. And then that time, I just like went all in and played the first game, and then the second game came out and during the pandemic. I remember pre-ordering it, and again, I kind of played like I played a lot more of it than I did the first time I played the first one, but I didn't finish it like I said the other day, and then all of a sudden, this is like 5 years later, I finally went back to that save and was able to finish it. And then, I've just been watching the show. I love those characters a lot, of Joel and Ellie, but also the characters that get introduced in, like, part 2 and stuff like that. It's just been a very prominent part of my life the past couple of months. I just was wondering what your thoughts were on that. But I would definitely say check it out again. Like I said, now that you're older, you may have, like, a different outlook on it or may just enjoy it more. Because, again, I mean, I don't have to tell you, you've seen it. This is clearly classified as like one of the best video games ever made, at least story wise. So I definitely recommend you try it again. Battlefront 3, we kind of touched on it. There's no news on this, but this has also been something that's kind of rocked our world the past couple of days. Something that I was not expecting. I don't think anybody was expecting, because this is just so random. Everybody's calling for Battlefront 3. Everyone's rallying for Battlefront 3.
I'm putting it on Andor's shoulders. I think that's what it is. Andor got people excited for Star Wars, and they've been replaying this game, and they've been all into it and just been wanting more.
Yeah, you might be hitting the nail on the head there. But yeah, this has been all over my For You page on TikTok, but I've also seen that it's trending on X, so it seems like those are the two social media platforms that it's been kind of popping off on the most. But I've even seen
it, but they've all just been posting like the same picture of like, you know, that one like infamous picture of like Paul Revere on the horse. It's like
Paul
that,
Revere
but it's like a phase one clone trooper on a horse.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's in every time I see a post. Comment. It's all the comment sections, because now you can comment photos on TikTok, which is cool.
Yes.
I even have seen people have been going to the trailer 2 for GTA 6 and just commenting, "Make Battlefront 3 happen," which I think is funny.
That's amazing.
Just going to the most random.
I'll see it on like the
places.
most random posts that have like nothing to do with Star Wars. It'll be like people like getting ready for their day, and I'll just look in the comments and people are talking about Battlefront 3, and I'm like, okay, hell yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it where literally the trailer 2 for GTA 6, people are just flooding the comments with "Make Battlefront 3 happen," which is funny. So yeah, we don't have any news on this. Hopefully, at some point we can have some news on this. That would be great. Even though you and I both said highly unlikely that this is actually gonna.
We were like 2 or 3 hours into playing the game again, and God, we're having like a blast. And Kyle just is like, "Do you think they're actually gonna make Battlefront 3?" And I'm just like, "No, I highly doubt it."
It's. I may have sent you the TikTok on it. It was like some quick meme edit of Cassian in Narkina 5, and he's just like, "No one is listening.
Yeah,
no one's listening."
I'm
like,
seeing that everywhere.
This seems to be what's going on with us in the real world, where we are causing this revolution, make Battlefront 3 happen. And EA is just like, so yeah, NFL 26 is slated to come out. Like, they're just ignoring it. So
what? You guys wanted more Outlaws DLC? Okay.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
Oh wait, shit, that's Ubisoft. Never mind.
Oh yeah. No, they're still worried about Outlaws. They're worried about the wrong Star Wars.
Instead of working on our own games, we're actually going to help Ubisoft.
Right. Yeah, I keep yawning. I'm tired. Or I just woke up, so. Alright. So yeah, Battlefront 3, we don't have any news, but there is a revolution happening. There's a rebellion. What does Poe Dameron say? What are the spark that will light the fire?
The fire against the First Order.
Right.
Except it's EA.
Right. So we are the spark that will light the fire.
That tracks, I think, in terms of video game universe. If
you're watching
stuff, though, we will be here, and we will definitely talk about it.
But if you are watching or listening and you used to play Battlefront and you want a Battlefront 3, get on the train. Start commenting.
Get on Battlefront 2. If you haven't played since launch day, get on Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
If you never played before, get on it.
Yeah, start commenting. Go on to government
right now
officials.
While the iron is hot, because I'm telling you, in maybe like 2 weeks, this game is going to go back down to like 1,000 players.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go onto the social media accounts of government officials and start commenting. Make Battlefront 3 happen. I feel like
call your local senators.
Yeah, go to your church and pray and ask your pastor or your rabbi.
Dear God, please give me Battlefront 3.
Yes. So yeah, again, no news on this, but we have been playing Battlefront 2. We've been enjoying it. To add to this, you weren't playing the other day. You had plans or whatever. So I was playing by myself last night before Grace hopped on and stuff. Man, I really just, and maybe it's just because we ended up not playing the game for a while and stuff. My star cards were like all fucked up on certain things, dude. I had like 27 star points for Kylo Ren and Darth Maul, and yet like some of the shit was still blue and stuff. I'm like, what the hell was I doing? Yeah, like
awful star card management over here.
Yeah, I was not paying attention to that at all. Even I think it was like Luke was the main one because like he's kind of one of the main heroes I use, and so I had like 10 star points, but all of his star cards were still blue, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? So I had to go through and upgrade everything and unlock everything because I also had a ton that was just locked because I just didn't pay attention.
Right.
So I went through and unlocked everything, and then I started switching stuff out and upgrading the stuff that I unlocked. So my star cards now are good, but yeah, I was like, what the hell was I doing?
I don't know if you know. It kind of depends on like the modes you're playing and whatnot. But if you're using like the basic infantry and whatnot, there are star cards in where you can get like an increased rate in like battle points to get heroes quicker. I don't know if you have those on, but I have them on.
Yeah, I think I have it. I think I have it on. But I did see it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, we've been playing it. We highly suggest if you're a fan, hop on. If you don't have the game but you kind of want it, get it because it's probably cheap at this point. It's probably $20 or less.
$20, like
right.
Yeah, exactly.
So definitely get it, especially too because it whatever they have that celebration edition or whatever, which is probably $20. That pretty much unlocks like 99% of everything in the game for you too. So you don't have to sit and grind everything out. So yeah, definitely get it. We've been having fun, and hopefully they're listening to our prayers, and you know, maybe at the Game Awards or E3 or something like that coming, we'll finally get a Battlefront 3 announcement. That would be really cool. But I highly doubt it.
A Battlefront 3 announcement to the Star Wars community might just be like on par with the Knicks winning the championship in New York City.
Yeah, for real.
It will just start a whole riot in the streets.
Yeah. That's what I was just about to say. The moment we get Battlefront 3, it's going to be the Narkina 5 prison break where we're just all running through the hallways. Just instead of chanting one way out, we're just chanting Battlefront 3, Battlefront 3. All right, so last little thing I want to talk about here before we move into our actual topic here. Darth Vader AI. Theo, I know you said you hopped on Fortnite quickly to get General Grievous. But have you messed with the Darth Vader AI by any chance?
Unfortunately, I have tried. I'm not great at Fortnite though, so it doesn't. I have never really gotten the chance to do so. But yeah, I just haven't been able. I've been seeing a shit ton of videos on it. People have been doing some hysterical stuff with this AI.
Yeah. So me and Grace a couple days ago went into like a bot lobby, so we didn't have anybody messing with us, and we went in, and I think we went and got him twice. This shit is fun as hell. I know that there's some sort of legal issue now that Epic is facing with it or something like that.
Right.
So hopefully they're able to sort it out rather than remove him. But man, this shit, it is so fun, bro. And I mean, I got in after they buffed it because originally, whatever it was, he was just saying anything.
Yeah.
So now they've changed it to where he's not saying the N-word or any curse words or anything like that. But it's still very fun. We got him. And so like Grace was asking him random questions and whatnot. And I just started asking him like Star Wars questions, obviously. I was just asking like the most random stuff. So there was a couple I was like, Darth Vader, do you know who Padme Amidala is? And he was just like, that name no longer has any meaning to me. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But then I would ask him like, I was like, I want to see how deep this kind of goes. And so I was like, Darth Vader, do you remember Quinlan Voss? And like he gave me like this whole speech on how Quinlan was this determined Jedi. But then he always would ask me like, what does this topic have to do with winning the game and stuff? So that's a little low-key annoying because it's like every question you ask, he's just like, what does this Quinlan Voss have to do with our strategy to win this fight? And I'm just like, okay, dude. But it is very fun. There's been a lot of stuff. I was asking so many questions. I went in as Aaron Yeager, and I think it's cool that when you get to him, he addresses you as whatever skin you are. Like he doesn't go like
right. Yeah.
OTS Bridger. He's like Aaron Yeager, or who was Grace playing as? Grace was playing as I think at first she was playing as Darth Jar Jar, and so he was like Darth Jar Jar. Like it is so cool. And yeah, just the AI in general, it's just very fun to ask him questions. You could piss him off and he'll just leave your team. Like he'll turn against you and start fighting
Right.
you. Which Grace thought was going to happen because I kept asking him questions and he just kept getting more and more mad. But I wasn't asking like rage bait questions. I was asking genuine questions like, you know, what's your favorite lightsaber color, Lord Vader? Mine's purple. And he'd be like, cosmetic colors do not matter to the overall winning of the battle. And like he would just get more and more mad, and I'm like, yo, this guy doesn't fuck with me for some reason, bro. I'm just asking him normal questions. So yeah, I just want to talk about that because I didn't know if you had messed with him, but it is very fun and very hectic and very chaotic. The things that you can ask him and the responses you'll get in turn. So yeah, you that's kind of the end of our little news and discussion. Like I said, it's a light news week, which is kind of good.
Yeah, nothing much going on.
Because some weeks I think it was last week and the week before, we had pretty heavy news flow. So yeah, we have our song of the week. Theo, do you have your song of the week?
I do have my song of the week.
I had one and I forgot, so let me look it back up. Oh wait, I already know. Sorry.
Okay. My song of the week is going to be Love Machine Part 1 by The Miracles. This is just straight up upbeat 70s funk. And I have been just dancing to this song like the entire week. Like, on my way to work, back from work, to and from the gym, all that stuff. I just constantly been playing it. I think like somehow I stumbled into like more like Donnie Brasco clips on TikTok. And this song is like playing on the yacht in that movie. And I was just like, what is this song? This song is amazing. And so I found it and I've just been jamming to it like the entire week.
Okay. All right. I haven't heard it, so I have to check it out. But it's funny that you say that you've been seeing clips with this song on TikTok and stuff, because my song also has been going crazy on TikTok. My song of the week is Headlock by Imogen Heap. I'm not sure if you know this song, but you definitely do know this song. So it is the song. I've definitely sent you some edits. It's like the song. It's like, you've been watching, you've been hiding, and it's like bum 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 bum. I've sent you edits. It's just
Oh
been
yeah. I know
edits
what you're
and
talking about.
edits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like the number one song on TikTok right now. Everybody is using it for edits. However, it would seem that this song is owned by Anakin Skywalker. That is the main edit. Everyone is editing Anakin Skywalker to this song, or Darth Vader. But it is just a great song. It is so good. People using the edits, like using it for edits, has been so good. But just listening to the song in general is just also incredible. It's just a really great song. So yeah, Headlock by Imogen Heap is going to be my song of the week.
All right.
So now our actual topic for the week, our episode 20 topic, we are going back to the world of professional wrestling with our top 5 tag teams. No stables. That was the thing I told Theo. No stables, so you will not see a DX or a New Day on our list. I wanted to. You could classify them as tag teams, and certain members of those stables.
If we were classifying New Day as a tag team, they would be my one. I want that to be stated.
There you go. Yeah, certain stables you could, there's certain members that team up like New Age Outlaws within DX or Triple H and Shawn Michaels, but I figured let's not, and let's just leave them for actual stables. So whenever we do our top 5 staples, which we'll do at some point. So this is strictly just 2 dudes, or women if you have women on your list. I'm not sure.
Having fun.
But 2 people that come together to make a tag team. I have a ton of honorable mentions. I know you only said you had about 4, so I'll let you go first because I have way more.
My honorable mentions are going to be the Steiner Brothers, the Dudley Boys, Team Hell No, Lucha Bros, and Kabuki Warriors.
Hell yeah. Team Hell No, they were someone that they almost made my honorable mentions. I'll say they should be. I just I thought about it and then it slipped my mind, so they definitely should be in my honorable mentions as well.
They have to be in my honorable mentions because I think they're one of the things that really got me into wrestling back in like 2012. Because at that point, like I had just played like the game, and then I was watching, and then I stumbled upon their team, and I'm like, "This is amazing! This is great stuff."
Yeah, for sure. So they're also in my honorable mentions, as well as the Kabuki Warriors. I don't have any women on my thing because I figured that could also be another episode at some point.
Right.
but Kabuki Warriors they'll definitely end up being in my top 5 women's tag teams in general.
For sure.
So yeah, my honorable mentions. Get ready for this, all right? So we have the Briscoe brothers, one of the best tag teams of all time that unfortunately never made it to WWE, but incredible team. Currently, probably like one of my favorite tag teams, Fraxium, great tag team. They're new, so that's why I was like, well, they're obviously just honorable mentions right now because they've only had like 2 years as a team, but man, they're fucking good. And I would argue with anybody that they are the best tag team in the world right now. DIY, I've always loved DIY. Paul London and Billy Kidman. That one, people were probably expecting another name that may show up, but for them, this is like a childhood thing, and they obviously were not a team for a while. But childhood wise, I just loved both of these guys together. And
I'm shocked they weren't in your top 5, honestly.
Yeah, okay. So there's we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
The Street Profits. I love the Street Profits. They're obviously incredible. World's Greatest Tag Team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. As a kid, I thought these guys were... I hated them in a way because they were obviously heels most of the time, but I thought these guys were so cool. They just had so much aura. I mean, literally being able to call yourself the world's greatest tag team. It doesn't get better than that when it comes to aura farming, so definitely love Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. Los Guerreros, another great team, Chavo and Eddie. But also I would even add Eddie and Ray to that list as well. Beer Money, that was another crucial tag team of my childhood of Bobby Roode and the Cowboy James Storm. And my last honorable mention is going to be Hurricane and Rosie. I love Hurricane and Rosie.
That's a great honorable mention.
Incredible team. Didn't get the team too long, but they did have a World Tag Team title run, I believe.
This is true.
Yeah, just very... I mean, obviously, we both just love Hurricane. He's just such a great character, such like a, it's gonna sound weird to say, such a beautiful character. Like, he just pops whenever you see Hurricane. Like, that green and black is just so bright and so great. So I've always loved him.
That one Royal Rumble back in 2018 when he showed up, bro, the entire room went crazy.
So yeah, those are my honorable mentions. But I will go first with my number 5 because it plays into what we were just talking about. So my number 5 is going to be the Hooligans, but more prominently probably known as Paul London and Brian Kendrick. So, yeah, to get it out of the way, as a kid, Paul London and Billy Kidman was my team, and they would be in my top 5. However, they only teamed for like 3 months or something like that. They did not team very long. So I thought I probably have to put Paul London and Brian Kendrick in here because they teamed way longer, and they were definitely more prominent in my childhood because also Paul London and Billy Kidman were a team, but it was kind of after, or it was like before I was like actually watching. So I only knew of them as a team because of like No Mercy 2004 I had on DVD, and that's where they have like their feud match, like their rivalry match, and that's how I saw the story of them. So yeah, they weren't together very long. As the story goes, I guess they both just did not really get along with each other, so they really just didn't want to team with each other. So yeah, Paul London and Brian Kendrick are on my list because they were just way more prominent of a team, especially when I was a kid, because they were actively a team when I was watching. And yeah, they had like a year-long run with the WB Tag Team Championships, which is incredible, especially for two guys that are small. It's been known that Vince McMahon, doesn't like small guys and stuff like that. So the fact that a tag team consisting of two guys that weigh like 100 and something pounds had a year-long run with the SmackDown like tag titles is pretty incredible. And then they had kind of like a quick run or two with the World Tag titles when they got moved to Raw. So yeah, that's my number 5 is Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Just kind of more prominent than Paul London and Billy Kidman, but both versions of Paul London's tag team partners, I guess, I love. So yeah.
My number 5 is more than likely going to be a lot higher on other people's lists than my list, but I still had to get them on here in general because they have to be. My number 5 is going to be Edge and Christian.
That's another honorable mention for me.
That's not. They're just always just regarded as one of the best tag teams of all time for a reason. They're both incredibly entertaining on the mic and in promos and stuff like that. But in the ring, they are still incredible workers, doing all sorts of crazy shit. But and they both went on to just have like really good solo runs as well. with Edge being like a multi-time generational run of a world champion, and
Generational
Christian
talent,
also
really.
generational talent. Christian also going on to have a very successful solo run, also having like one of my favorite theme songs of all time. I mean, these guys are always putting on good matches no matter who you put them up against. Just very solid work and very fundamental to what tag team is now today, I'd say. So they got to make it on my list for that for sure.
Hell yeah. I don't know. This is another case of, I think they just slipped my mind somehow. So I will add them to my honorable mentions list for sure. But yeah, for some reason they just slipped my mind. But my number 4 is going to be the Young Bucks. I love these guys. I honestly, to be honest, to be brutally honest, I don't really love them currently. The past year, I've not been a big fan of the Young Bucks. I think it's just the gimmick, the EVP kind of gimmick I just don't care for. But normal Young Bucks, man, they're it's hard to find a tag team that's better than the Young Bucks when they're really firing on all cylinders. I obviously watched them, even when they had a small little run at TNA back in like 2011. I watched them, but then mainly I would see them when they kind of blew up on the indies and they were in PWG and New Japan and things like that. That's when I started kind of jumping on the train, and then obviously in AEW up until recently, I've loved them, and I've thought they were pretty much a highlight, again, up until recently, of the AEW product. But they could still go. Just because I don't like the gimmicks currently doesn't mean that they're bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, the character work may not be great, but they could still go in the ring. They could still do what they've done the whole time. But they've just had such classic matches in PWG, in AEW, in New Japan. They've taken over the world. And they were really the, like, Bullet Club. Bullet Club is not technically their group. Like it was, it's New Japan's group or whatever, but them, Kenny and Cody were the 4 that really kind of spearheaded it, and with the Being the Elite vlogs, they took over the world. They were the first like non-WWE wrestling thing to get into Hot Topic stores, as well as Funko Pops. They had literal Funko Pops that were not WWE Funko Pops. Like that also, really shows how much they care about this and how much they love this, that they were able to pull that off. So yeah, my number 4 is going to be the Young Bucks.
My number 4 is going to be the Street Profits. I think in terms of like modern day WWE like tag team wrestling, I feel like these two are like the quintessential definition of what a tag team should be. They always got the matching gear going on. They've got the different styles that flow very well together, with Montez Ford with the high flying and Angelo Dawkins with the heavy hitter. But either of them could even like switch that up to where Angelo Dawkins will be doing some crazy shit over the top rope and whatnot. I mean, like, and it doesn't really matter whether they're face or heel, who they're fighting. They're always going to be putting on quality matches, quality wrestling. Even their entrances and their themes, regardless of when or where, it's always just going to be popping off and just always going to be incredibly entertaining. I've really been loving this stuff. These guys have been doing it for the past, like, 6-7 years now at this point, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
I'd say.
something like that.
They've just been doing incredible work. They've been really just fighting to keep this tag team division alive throughout all this time, especially through COVID and even now, past that, when it's very so, like, centralized around, like, the world champion and whatnot, which it usually always is, but I feel like even more so now than ever it kind of is. And I feel like that's always just kind of put a strain on the tag team division. But they've been doing an incredible job keeping it alive on the main roster all these years still. And that's why they're my number 4.
Yeah, no, I agree with you again. They're obviously in my honorable mentions list. But I agree with you because even like for a while, the New Day was off doing its own thing. Like Big E was off doing his own thing, and like it felt like Woods and Kofi kind of took a back seat and stuff. So while they kind of took a back seat, it felt like the Street Profits were the main tag team in WWE, and like you said, kind of holding it down and doing whatever they could to like try and make the tag team division interesting, and they've done a great job. But yeah, even their stuff at NXT was pretty good. I agree with you that it's great talent again in my honorable mention. So I'm with you on it. Yeah, top tier team. They've done incredible work. Although I do think it is time for Montez Ford to kind of branch off on his own. And kind of do his own thing after.
We've been saying that for years, though, to be fair.
Yeah. But I will add, too, shout out to Angelo Dawkins because that man was in NXT for, like, he definitely has one of the higher tenure times in NXT because he's been in NXT since literally like 2013 or something like that, 2014, and he just couldn't find anything. Like he was just trying and just couldn't figure it out. And then he just connected with Montez Ford, and finally, that's a common thing, really in anything, but in wrestling in this case, like you could be kind of struggling to figure it out, and then a person, a thing, a movie, something happens, something comes into your life that just kind of resonates and clicks with you, and you figure out your character. So I'm very glad that Angelo Dawkins, met Montez Ford in whatever it was, 2016 or something like that, and was able to kind of click and make this tag team, because there was a while there where I was like, I don't know, this Angelo Dawkins guy may not be making it, past the next round of like releases, because he just was in NXT, but he wasn't on TV because he didn't have he didn't figure out his character yet. So it's like he had been in NXT for like 4 or 5 years without actually having some sort of attempt of like a run on TV. So I was like, I don't want to say I was getting nervous because I didn't know the guy, but I was getting like, this random guy I don't know may not make it past the next round of cuts. But obviously I was wrong. Gladly, I was wrong because we have this incredible tag team. So yeah, my number 3 is definitely up there for most people and definitely should be on anybody's list. The Hardy Boys at my number 3. I do want to point out I did say no stables, and the thumbnail clearly has Triple H and Shawn Michaels in it. But I made the thumbnail.
I was about to say, I'm like, yeah, you made that rule, and they're on the thumbnail. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm sorry. I made that. So when I make the thumbnails like a month in advance. Basically, when I figure out what our next 4 episodes are going to be, I'll jump in and make the thumbnails real quick so I get it out of the way. Because we used to do our episodes, and then I kept going, oh shit, I don't have a thumbnail. So while the episode was exporting, I had to quickly make thumbnails. So I'm like, when I figure out what the next 4 episodes are going to be, I'll just make the thumbnails all at once. So I made the thumbnails before I thought of that rule. I was just kind of going like, what's a popular tag team or what's a popular team? So that's why DX is in there. But the other people in the thumbnail are the Hardy Boys, because arguably they are one of if not the greatest tag team of all time. So yeah, my number 3 is going to be Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. Great pick for sure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you were going to keep going.
I was.
Going. I'm sorry.
I was,
Okay,
brother.
well.
Yeah, top tier tag team. As a kid of the 2000s, and some people say like, oh, you have to be a kid of the 90s and stuff. They were still active in the 2000s, you know what I'm saying? Because Jeff kind of came and went, but whenever he would come back to WWE, they always found a way to put them together at some point. So where most people, and I also grew up on kind of the original Hardy Boys with like DVDs and stuff like that. But yeah, I was less Attitude Era Hardy Boys and more 2006, 2007 Hardy Boys where they were kind of together and stuff like that. But yeah, Jeff Hardy's one of my guys. Like for any wrestling fan, everybody loves Jeff Hardy, especially if you were a kid watching wrestling. So yeah, just a great tag team. Incredible TLC matches with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. But like you said with Edge and Christian, both went off and did great stuff on their own. Jeff was multi-time, top guy champion for WWE and TNA. Matt Hardy was ECW champion, had multiple mid-card titles, went to Ring of Honor. He was Ring of Honor champion for a while. So yeah, both have had really just great careers on their own, as well as, again, as a tag team, one of the most decorated and most influential tag teams too. Like everybody says about Jeff Hardy, but I will include Matt Hardy in that too. If you were a kid growing up in like the 90s, 2000s, and you had a friend, one of you was Matt Hardy, one of you was Jeff Hardy, and when you were on the trampoline, somebody was hitting a swanton bomb and somebody was hitting a leg drop on, your stuffed animals or whatever it was. So, yeah, my number 3 is going to be the Hardy Boys, one of the most influential and best tag teams of all time.
My number 3 is going to be the Hardy Boys.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty crazy how they end up in the same spot. I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head with everything you said. I mean, they obviously have to be on like. It's not right to not have them on a top 5 list because it's like they like that whole like trinity of like them and like Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys. Obviously, is like some of the most iconic tag team wrestling of all time, and definitely like revolutionized what tag team wrestling could be. But I mean, like these guys were on fire for years, and their wrestling is so like unique and fluid and just crazy shit like the leg drop and the swanton bomb and all that. But even just like doing that through like multiple tables off of ladders and stuff like that. Like these guys put their bodies on line each and every single night they went out there in just the most batshit crazy ways you can imagine. And ever since we've like gone back and like started like rewatching WrestleManias and stuff like that, I've been going back and watching matches from like the 2000s, and obviously they've been very prevalent in those years. And I've just been very much so enjoying all the wrestling they've done, both as like a tag team and like individually. Like both of them, I think, are just incredible stars. Especially, well, obviously, especially like Jeff Hardy and stuff like that, because he was like the most popular guy for like years.
Right.
But even like still, like Matt Hardy was also doing like incredible stuff like that. So I mean, they obviously have to be at the 3. They just are like revolutionary talent.
Hell yeah, definitely. My number 2, also one of the best tag teams of all time. Probably on everybody's list. Probably on Theo's list. Probably in the same spot. Is the Usos.
Yep, it's at the exact same spot.
Yes, sir. The best. Another one of the just best tag teams of all time. Like we were saying about the Street Profits, where they were kind of holding it down, it felt like wherever they were on the other side of the coin was the Usos. The Usos, I will say, over the Street Profits, over New Day, are the tag team that have held the WWE Tag Team division down and have, again, similar to the Street Profits, but I would say even more prominently, have been the tag team that have been trying to make the tag division, prominent and interesting from like 2014 to like 2020 or whatever it was.
Right.
So yeah, one of the best. Obviously, again, we see where they are now. They're kind of off on their own thing. Not really sure what Jimmy's doing. Jimmy's just kind of around. But clearly Jay is off on big things. He's currently, as recording, he is currently the World Heavyweight Champion. So that's incredible stuff. But as a tag team, to me, is when they're at their best. Their promos are at their best when they're together. Their matches are at their best when they're together. Incredible classics with the New Day. That's probably their biggest feud ever was against the New Day and the Hell in a Cell match and all that stuff. Yeah, but I've loved them even when I was a teenager. I loved them when they had the paint and the bright colors and the green and the yellow and different types of shorts. They were cool as hell then. And then the transformation to like Day One Usos, the Uso Penitentiary was awesome.
Penitentiary, yeah.
That's when their promos were at their best, like 2016, 2017. Those promos were definitely when they were at their best, and everything since. So yeah, that's my number 2, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. The Usos, they've been the tag team of WWE for the past like 10 years, if not longer. So
definitely longer, because I mean they really started like popping up back in like, well, I mean they've been around since like 2010, but they really started like popping off back in like 2012, 2013 with like the colorful face paint and all that kind of stuff. And just to kind of see where they've like journeyed, and they've always just kind of like improved as a tag team, because they were doing incredible stuff with that, and then they went to the Uso Penitentiary and did even better stuff, and then they were in the Bloodline, which took over the entirety of WWE for like years, and them being a big part of that obviously helped them a lot as well, keeping like the tag team division alive and stuff like that. But I mean, they've just been doing like incredible work, and obviously I'm very excited to see where they go as single stars. Obviously Jey Uso is the World Heavyweight Champion, and Jimmy Uso is around doing stuff as well. But I've always kind of been like a big Jimmy fan ever since they've kind of broken up, so I would like to see him more prominently in the future, because I feel like he is capable of doing like really good stuff and cutting some great promos and stuff like that. He just needs to get that like opportunity to just kind of like get away from kind of like the Yeet stuff and just kind of make up his own thing, because then I think he can really like shine just like Jay has.
Right.
But
I
even
feel like
still,
he's
like,
also still low key like in the Bloodline vortex, because he's on SmackDown, where you still have Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and even Tongalo when he comes back. But mainly, you have Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa that are like they're fighting for their own shit on TV. So them trying to do that while you also have Jimmy is definitely hard. So it's like he's definitely still kind of stuck in the Bloodline. I don't know. It's hard because he's stuck in the Bloodline vortex there. But if you move him to Raw, then you're like, well, like he's just gonna constantly be involved in whatever Jay's doing. So it's like it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard to figure out where you go with Jimmy without having him doing something with Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Roman, Jay, any of those, Sammy, whatever. It's definitely not easy, but
Right.
hopefully they're able to figure something out and kind of get him off on his own for real and not kind of overshadowed by the rest of his kind of family. But my number one, I don't know if you guys can tell what my number one is. I don't talk about it a lot. I don't have any merch except for maybe this
He keeps it
t-shirt that
very
I'm wearing.
private, very close to his chest. He's only told me
Very
like
close
once.
to my chest. Right. My favorite tag team of all time is the Motor City Machine Guns. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say about these guys? Absolutely love these guys ever since I was a kid. And I turned on TNA for the first time and I saw them. I kind of just instantly fell in love with these guys because they look so cool. And their in-ring stuff is great. They've said it on commentary on SmackDown a lot. This is one of the most influential tag teams ever, especially of like the 2000s and 2010s, where you look at any tag team today, whether in WWE, TNA, AEW, the Indies, any tag team in the world has stolen something from the Motor City Machine Guns because they were just so innovative with their moves and doing stuff that nobody had ever done as a team, to where now everybody just steals their stuff because they're just like, yeah. It got to a point where me and Elias, again, I'm not a wrestler, I'm a manager when I do stuff in wrestling. Me and Elias had this idea of like our own little spot where, you know how they do the roll through, kind of grab the guy by his chin and the other one does the drop kick. We had our own idea of like, what if we made our own tag move, but even though I'm a manager, where if we need to like cut somebody off or something like that, they hit the ropes and I trip them, and as I trip them, he comes in with a drop kick. So even someone who's not a wrestler still stole something from the Motor City Machine Guns. But it's funny because we were calling a match one time with the Marquee, which is Aaron Nova's kind of group, and they were calling their own stuff to us, and they also called the same, well, obviously the tag team version of it, but they called the same move. They were like, yeah, let's hit the Motor City, so we're going to trip you up, and then I'm going to come in with a drop kick, and I was like, yeah, so this is literally the most influential tag team probably of all time, where you've got the same people on shows calling the same moves that those guys created. So yeah, I just love their look. They've had bangers with Beer Money, with the Young Bucks, just in general. They also have really, they've also kind of done their own thing where they split up and come back together. Alex Shelley, there's been times throughout like the years where Alex Shelley has kind of left wrestling a little bit. He has like a lot of degrees. I think he's like a personal trainer on the side, so he has a lot of degrees with like health and health science and all this stuff. So it's like, outside of wrestling, it's cool to see him do his own thing and do something different while Chris Sabin was still wrestling and doing stuff on his own as a singles guy. Chris Sabin won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship at one point. He was X Division champion. So yeah, it's just really cool to see them do their own thing even outside of wrestling. And then once he got his degrees or whatever he wanted, they would come back together and team up again and pick up right where they left off and win the TNA tag titles or win the titles in New Japan or win the titles on the Indies or something like that. So yeah, I just love the Motor City Machine Guns. Great look. They look so cool. So I would say great gimmick in general, just the look and their gimmick, and their in-ring work is obviously incredible, whether they're teaming or by themselves. So Motor City is my number one.
Yeah, definitely goated for sure. My number one is going to be a bit crazy. They are in your honorable mentions. My number one is going to be Fraxium.
Wow.
Again, I know they've only been around for like a few years, you kind of said already, but I swear to God, every single time I see these two in a match, they're always just putting on the performance of a fucking lifetime. Their match against Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander like a year or two ago is some of the best tag team wrestling I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And these guys are just always on that level of just excellence every single time they go out there. And it's very much so just like a stars aligned sort of situation, and where they kind of just took two random guys and put them in a team, and then it just became this whole legendary thing, and where they're one of the best tag teams in the world, the best tag team in the world, I'd say right now. Definitely my favorite for sure. But I mean, I've just been loving everything these guys have been doing. I know they're going to be continuously just dominating the tag team division for years to come, unless some sort of thing happens where they break up. But even then, I feel like I can definitely see these two going on and having incredible solo runs. So I kind of just have all my chips down right now on the Fraxium, and I feel like I'm going to definitely get paid off for having that done.
Yeah, I mean, it is a wild pick because of their tenure and whatnot, but I'm not against it. Like I said, they were in my honorable mentions, and I do think they're the best tag team in the world. Even in a world where Motor City are still active, I still think Fraxium currently are the best tag team in the world, and I can't wait to see that match. I think that's the match that everybody's waiting for when we finally get that match. Yes, so I'm excited to see whenever we actually get that match. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think they're the best. I'm glad they never pulled the trigger on splitting them up because it seemed like a couple times in NXT they were teasing it and whatnot. So thank you, Shawn Michaels, for not pulling that trigger because we would be missing out. Their matches, that match you said was great, but I'd say their best match or best matches was their matches against Chase U. Those matches,
that's a good one.
Those matches were incredible. I think the first one especially, just really incredible stuff. Sad that Chase U is no longer a thing, well, it is technically, but it's not the original. It's not the original incarnation of Chase U, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm with you. Fraxium is great, and some bright young stars, as like JR would say. Some bright young stars here on SmackDown in the tag team division, looking for tag gold.
Go to tag team division in the world.
Yeah, so I definitely could see them becoming tag team champions, and like I said, the Motor City versus Fraxium match is going to cook, but I also need them to run it back when one of those teams have the tag titles.
Right.
That would be incredible. Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're a great tag team. And I'm excited to see what's in store for Axiom and Nathan Frazier in the near future. So yeah, those are our lists. We'll run through them real quick for me. Number 5, Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Number 4, the Young Bucks. Number 3, the Hardy Boys. Number 2, the Usos. And number 1, the Motor City Machine Guns.
Number 5, Ed Christian. Number 4, Street Profits. Number 3, Hardy Boys. Number 2, Usos. 1, Fraxium.
Hell yeah! It seems like currently on SmackDown at least, the tag division is one of the highlights of the show for sure. Mm-hmm. They have a stacked tag division. I was saying I know there was reports that it looks like they're planning on putting Penta and Phoenix together sooner rather than later. And as much as I would love them to be a part of that stacked SmackDown roster, they have to be on Raw. Because Raw needs something.
So badly. They need it so badly.
And they would have great matches with New Day, with the War Raiders. Those are just two off the top of my head that they would have great matches with. And, there's drafts and whatnot, so I'm sure we'll see Fraxium or Motor City or DIY end up on Raw at some point and stuff. So, yeah, but SmackDown currently has a stacked tag division and is definitely what I look most forward to. Obviously, my favorite tag team is there, but when I watch SmackDown, that's what I look most forward to every week, is seeing what Motor City's going to do, seeing what Fraxium's going to do, seeing what DIY is going to do, seeing what the Street Profits are going to do, even seeing what Angel and Berto are going to do. That's a tag team, very underrated tag team that definitely needs to get some more shine. But yeah,
for sure.
Anyway, watching, listening, throw in the comments what's your top 5, or at least what's your favorite tag team. What do you think of our list? Do you think our lists are ridiculous? Do you think Theo is uneducated for putting Fraxium at number 1, or is he playing the long game?
I'm playing the long game here.
So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're listening and watching on YouTube or Spotify. Thank you. Shout out to WNRN as always for being our gracious podcast host. There's something I got to find here real quick that I want to show. Our boy Jesse at the WNRN always does our graphic work. Well, I do the thumbnails and stuff, but he does our logos and our shirt designs. We have the Theo Bebop logo. It might be reversed, I'm not sure, but no, you can get it. Okay. Clearly inspired by the Muppets. So yeah, that should be a t-shirt design that should be up soon. We are I think I mentioned last week, we're kind of in the process of putting all of our stuff that was on Pro Wrestling Tees up on the WNRN Printify, because I just like the quality of the shirts and the print better. So that should be one of them that should be coming to the Printify shop soon. If you want yourself a Muppets inspired Theo Bebop logo, I will have the link at some point. But just go to the Printify, keep your eye on the Printify, as well as all of our other t-shirt designs. But that's just your logo there, Mr. Theo, so you can use that for whatever you want.
I'm going to get 4 of those shirts for sure, at least 4.
There you go. But yeah, anything, I don't know what, anything you need to use your logo for. There's your logo. So definitely download it and save it onto your phone. Yeah. So we appreciate y'all. Next week is gonna be a fun one. Next week is our review of the month. It's our, we
I thought it was gonna be
each
like a
month.
surprise party sort of thing.
No. Our kind of last episode of each month is going to be a review. We're on a WrestleMania kick. When that's going to end, I have no clue because it's kind of just easy to go to the next one and whatnot. So I don't know when that's going to end, but next week is going to be WrestleMania 17. That's our review. Classified and glorified as one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. So that's going to be fun, especially from last month with WrestleMania 2000. That was not very fun.
That was a shit WrestleMania.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. So I'm excited for next week. You and I both are gonna have to watch it at some point this coming week. Yeah. So next week's episode is gonna be all about our review for WrestleMania 17. So make sure you are staying tuned for that. We're gonna have tons of notes. We're gonna go match by match, segment by segment, moment by moment, and break it down, give our thoughts, opinions, and review on WrestleMania 17. And with that, we will see you next week for our review. We appreciate y'all watching. We appreciate the support. Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Mr. Bebop?
Just want to thank Jesse again for the logo. I think it looks amazing. Can't wait to get it on a shirt.
Yes, sir. All right. See ya.